Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Alex Curry here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys. Happy Friday. How we doing?
You got Joe. Go there and play. Go there and play. Go there and play. Go there and play. Go there and play.
All I know is I will take my Cowboys over your Lakers any day or night because my Cowboys have arrived in the penthouse and your Lakers, even without the phony GOAT, are stuck in the outhouse.
Go there.
That was a stinker.
Do we even count that when GOAT don't play?
Yeah.
No, we don't.
What do you always say? They pay the other team too, don't they?
Well, let's start with that Lake Show game because after blowing a 26-point lead to OKC last week, the Lakers blew a 19-point lead last night.
What?
The Thunder are 0-6 against the rest of the NBA and now 2-0 against the Lakers. LeBron didn't play in either, and he's now expected to miss at least 1 week with an abdominal strain. So, Shannon, what was the biggest reason for the Lakers' collapse last night?
The same reason they've lost games before. It was their defense. Skip, I can be lazy and say, yeah, they turned the ball over. Yeah, they had 17 turnovers. Yeah, I can say Russ picked a very bad time to have his first turnover in the fourth quarter, late in the ball game when they were down by one, Skip. Oh, I think they were down by one, maybe two. Had Melo trailing 2. But that's not why, Skip. They lost because of their defense. Again, they stopped playing defense. They built this 19-point lead just like they did in OKC, but it was a 26-point lead. And for some reason, all of a sudden, they start taking bad shots, they start turning the ball over, and they don't play defense. Skip, they have these spells, and if you notice, it goes back a couple of years where they'll go 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes without scoring a field goal. Well, if you build a big lead and you go that length of time without scoring buckets, you better lock in defensively because if you're not scoring and you're allowing the other team to score, there's not a lead that's big enough in which they can't overcome. We saw that just a week ago. They overcame a 26-point lead. We saw this last night. They overcome a 19-point lead because the Lakers stopped playing defense. In the fourth quarter, they give up 35 points. They let them shoot 53% from the field, 50% from the three. Well, Skip, if you have an early 9-point lead in the fourth quarter and you allow a team to do that, well, this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to, start looking around. What happened? You squandered a great game by Anthony Davis. He was 29 and 18. Tremendous. Carmelo again, coming off the bench. Skip 5 of 10 for 3. Got it going late. But this is what you're going to get from Russ. You're going to get a guy that's very inefficient. You're going to get a guy, because Skip, you know what? Russell Westbrook reminds me of Tony Romo. Tony Romo picked the very worst time to have a turnover in a ball game. Skip, he played well. Go back to that game. You remember the game I'm talking about, don't you? 505 yards, 5 touchdowns. Ooh, Tony gonna do this thing. Tony gonna do it. Damn, Tony, you did it again. Why you pick now? Why you couldn't throw an interception in the first quarter? Why did it have to be the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left in the ball game when we're tied? Russ picked a very bad time to have his very first turnover. And I don't think anybody in the world, I would have bet everything that I own that when Russ pulled up with that 3 to tie the ball game, that ball was not going in. But defense, because out there, my last point, Skip, when they were in OKC, they had this 26-point lead. They gave up 41 in the third. They gave up 37 in the fourth. 78 points in 2 quarters. What did they do last night? They gave up 35 points. So defense
in the fourth quarter.
Defense is their issue. They score plenty of points. But you better be careful. When you think you can just outscore people and you have a lull and you can't lock in, you're going to lose the ball game. And then Russ, I don't know what he was thinking on that Lou Dort play. Did he realize that was his guy, Skip? Oh, he didn't. Oh, okay.
Bottom line, takeaway. Early season, but so far, Russell Westbrook is killing your Los Angeles Lakers. As I predicted, it will not work. I realized LeBron wasn't there for either Oklahoma City game, but Russ was. Russ got his start in Oklahoma City. Russ was there forever as a perennial all-star and triple-double artist, averaging triple-doubles, winning an MVP. And you also had on the floor Anthony Davis, another Hall of Fame-bound player. And you also had on the floor Carmelo, who was playing like Denver Carmelo.
Yes.
Hall of Fame bound. Yes. And you also, although he only played for 8 minutes last night, you had a 4th Hall of Famer, according to Shannon Sharpe, and that's Dwight Howard.
Yes.
So it's 4 Hall of Famers are still left on the floor.
Yes.
Against an Oklahoma City team that, again, has lost 6 games, won only 2, and both came in collapses by your Los Angeles Lakers,
yes.
which is incomprehensible to me. And yet, if I just glanced at the stat sheet from last night, I'd say, Hall of Fame rose and shone last night because, to your point, AD had 29 and 18. That sounds pretty good to me. Russell Westbrook, he had 27 points and hit 3 of 6 threes, which I would have bet against last night.
Perfect from the free throw line.
Okay, and 4 of 4. And, hey, Melo, he stayed Melo hot. And he made 5 of 10 threes to total 21 points. And if you told me those 3 things, if you told me Oklahoma City missed 8 free throws, they hit 18 of 26, they missed 8 free throws, I'd look down at this and I'd say, you guys won by 20. Way to go. That's what you should have done, right? Did not happen. Yet, you guys had a 19-point lead, but here, even worse. With 9:42 left in the basketball game in the fourth quarter, you had a 9-point lead. A 9-point lead?
Yep.
And you can't hold out with 4 Hall of Famers at home against a team that has lost its 6 other games?
You and I talked earlier. One of the reasons why they went away from Buddy Hield and took Russell Westbrook, Skip, is for nights like last night. LeBron James is out. We have 2 superstars on the court. This is a game that these 2 superstars plus Melo should be able to win.
That was your point to me before the year. That's why we got Russ. If LeBron needs time off, if he's got this injury or that injury, whatever happens in year 19, we're covered.
Right.
We got insurance. We got Russ.
Yes.
We got Melo.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And AD.
And AD. And Dwight. And you should be good to go.
Yes.
And Ellington came back last night. I'm going to give you this before I launch on this. Anthony hurt his shooting hand, but he got it caught near the end of the first half, and it got bent back, and it was sprained. So he was 11 points and 6 rebounds through the second half. He wasn't quite right.
He wasn't quite as aggressive as he was.
But he did, to his credit, he came back out, and he played pretty well. I don't know that he could shoot it and control the basketball quite like he should have.
He shot one, it went off the backboard. He looked around like,
let's see that play, shall we? Because this was actually a Lakers luck play. And this is when I thought, you got this. You're going to win this game. Because here's AD, and he shoots it. Whoops. It sort of veered a little bit to the right and went off the glass, and he did not call glass on that. And when he made it, he was shaking his head down the floor.
I don't know what happened with
I don't know what happened to that. But I thought, game over. You got this.
Right.
But you don't got this. Because next up on the list, what happened? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander made a statement in the fourth quarter. He wanted Russ, and he got Russ. And he is obviously the successor to Russ, and there he is. He takes a logo 3 with 16 seconds left on the shot clock. He just said, no, I got this. I'm sorry, I got this. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He just said, I'm going to own the fourth quarter. And did he ever? He played like an all-star. I don't know if he'll make the all-star team, but he gave it an all-star performance. And I think it was all aimed at Russell Westbrook because he's now the man in Oklahoma City. And he's saying, I'm better than Russell Westbrook. Even though Russ was often great in Oklahoma City, I remind everybody that Kevin Durant left Russ simply because of what happened once again last night. I can't win with that guy as my primary decision maker. Okay, so the logo 3 put them up 6 points, and it had dagger potential.
Yes.
And yet, to your team's credit, here they came back with desperation threes by Austin Reeves. And guess who played all 12 minutes of the fourth quarter? Austin Reeves. He played he's undrafted out of Oklahoma, a rookie, and he did make that shot. He missed another wide open one, but he did make that one. And then here's Melo at the top, and he just stayed Melo hot. And the crowd's going crazy, and then Russ got him again. Would you believe Russ had only 2 assists at that point late in the game? And Melo got him to 5 by making late shots. Okay, so they go bang, 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 and they cut it to 3 on Austin Reeves, then they cut it to 2 on Melo, and cut it to 1 on Carmelo. Which brings us to the showcase star of the night, Russ, you're on. There's no Bron. It's your team. It's your town. You grew up a Laker diehard, a fanatic, and you have arrived. You are now home. This is your time to shine. And what does he do? Let's look at the wild turnover, please. This is what you just discussed. You get it on the semi-break. Semi-break, and I don't know what. I think he was going to shoot it.
No, Skip, what he's going to do, you know what he's going to do? He's going to do this.
Maybe.
Over the top.
I'm not sure about that. I don't think he knew what he was going to do. That's the problem.
Yeah, he's going to go.
I don't know what he was doing, but this is classic, vintage, careless, out of control Russell Westbrook. Yeah. No conscience. Do you think he lost any sleep last night? No, because no one has ever held him accountable for any of the above.
I lost sleep.
Well, you did, but he didn't. He is a turnover machine. He has low basketball IQ. He is the flip side of LeBron, who has the highest basketball IQ in the NBA. And Russ just plays completely out of control because it often contributes to stat lines, triple doubles. Right. At Oklahoma City, he had a quadruple double because he had 10 turnovers. He restricted himself to only 4 last night. Right. You can live with that, but at the key moment of the game, you cannot live with that because you're down 2 at that point. Right. You have a chance to tie. I don't know. I don't think he knew what he was going to do. How many times have we seen him go up in the air without a plan? It's what they teach you in church league basketball. When you're a little kid, you can't leave your feet with no plan. You have to have an idea of where you're going, or you're going to turn the basketball over. I think he didn't know what he was going to do, and he forgot to take the basketball along for the ride. And it's a kill. It tears the heart out of the team because the team just says, what are we doing? We had him. We got a semi-break going. Carmelo's waving for the basketball. Avery Bradley's in the far corner. He's got a wide open 3. You cash it. If you cash it, you probably are going to win the game. Yeah. Okay. Now we get to the defensive lapse, and this is on an inbounds play by the Thunder. And I don't know what Russ is doing because he doesn't know what he's doing. But on the inbounds, he chases Shai Gilgeous.
But where is he going?
I don't know. It's a triple team on Shai Gilgeous. It's a triple team.
No, but Mike Muscala, excuse me. Austin Reeves is coming to.
They're all coming. I got it. He came to triple, which is crazy. You lost your head. You lost your perspective on what was going on in the game. You just lost it. Right. You played completely out of control on defense, and you left Lou Dort wide open for a dunk. And to Shai's credit, he's 6'5", and he got up over the defense and threw a jump pass because he is really good. He is a fine young player.
And I think that was the problem last night, Skip. They got Avery Bradley, but Avery Bradley is so small. He was just, backing him down, shooting over the top of him. Yep. Russ is not a defender, so he was having his way with whomever they put on him. Oh,
God. Okay, so you get one last hurrah. You get one last chance. And guess who your point guard is? It's Russell Westbrook.
You know good well that ball wasn't going in, Skip.
And once he gets a hold of it, it's just, I'm up, I'm going up. And they were running a play to get Carmelo loose at the top of the circle, and he just jacks it. And obviously, as you said, nobody in the crowd thought it was going in. No. Nobody. I don't think Russ thought it was going in, and it bricked. It's a West brick. And what did Coach Vogel say after the game? Not good enough. This is the first time he has directed his criticism publicly right at Russell Westbrook. We want to get a better shot than that, said Coach Vogel. We were trying to get Melo to the top of the floor, but the spacing wasn't great. It's just, he's saying, I didn't want that shot, and guess who? Bull in China shop just said, this is who I am. This is what I do. I'm going to take this shot. And by the way, he had made 3 of 5 at that point from 3, which is like crazy hot by his standards.
Yeah, a bunch of them was like, Skip, they was meaningless. They was in the process of when they built this 19-point lead. So the thing is, that's one thing. We've seen guys make spectacular catches in the first and second quarter. But when you need that, Skip, on third down, you need a play to keep the drive alive. All of a sudden, whoop, 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 they're bobbling the ball. Wow. A routine catch. And that's the problem, Skip. You look at Russ, they're like, man, Russ had 27. It took him 23 shots.
You got it.
That's the problem.
Thank you.
He's so inefficient.
Thank you.
He's so ball dominant.
He is the opposite of Kevin Durant, right?
Well,
flip side. Flip side.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's night and day different.
Yep.
And it's just hard to overcome this, Skip, because a lot of times he'll just come down, Skip, and just shoot a shot just because. There's no reason for him to take a shot with 5 men back and it's a 1-on-5. There's no reason.
I'm Russell Westbrook. I'm an MVP. I've averaged triple-doubles for the last 5 years.
And the worst thing that can happen is for him to see a couple of shots going early, because now you at his mercy. Because especially with no Bron, because Bron, there's Skip. But here's the thing, and I also Frank Vogel, you're not without blame here. Why in the hell would you take Russ and AD out the court for almost 3 minutes in a ball game when you have nobody that can? Rondo is just a shell of himself. Sometimes
really?
I think.
Oh,
but Skip, here's
I didn't know you were down on Rondo.
Here's the thing.
Because I was so up on Rondo last year, and then I told you I can't find Rondo when he's with the Clippers.
Here's the thing. Rondo is gone how many games with coach's decision, DNP? And then all of a sudden, he's thrust into the lineup. Yep. So he's slipping all over the place.
Good point.
He's throwing balls all over the place. So either you're going to let him play, even if you only give him 5 to 6 minutes a night. You can't have a guy miss 3-4 games and then all of a sudden have him come in and expect him to play to the level that you're accustomed to him playing at.
Yep. Okay. So I'm going to say this one more time. And I always liked Austin Reeves because I watch a lot of Oklahoma basketball. But he's an undrafted rookie, and they have fallen in love with him because, remember, LeBron blessed him before the season started and said, he's got that dog in him. What's your nickname for him? I can't remember.
Oh, Hillbilly Kobe.
Hillbilly Kobe.
Oh, Hillbilly Kobe. He liked it. You saw them 3 easy hits.
I think that's a little blasphemous, but I can't even start there. But he is a tough-minded kid.
Yeah, he is, Skip.
And he was only a 34% three-point shooter in college, but he'll take and make good shots. Yeah. He's got guts. And he plays hard on defense, and they think they've found the new Caruso, right?
Thank you.
Okay. He played all 12 minutes. He's the only Laker, the undrafted free agent rookie. The only Laker to play all 12 minutes of the fourth quarter was Austin Reeves, and he was a -11, which was the worst on the floor of anybody on his team or the other team, right? -11, not good enough. I think you're going to have to rethink that a little bit.
Well, Skip, the thing is, look at it. I've never seen a stat line like this. Derek Favors didn't score a point, but he was plus 15 in the fourth quarter because he does other things. I mean, but, Russ was 1 of 5. He's 2 of 4, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. That one turnover was costly. And that was the only time they turned the ball over in the fourth quarter, Skip. They had one turnover. They shot 29% from the floor. They shot 33% from the three. They was perfect from the free throw line.
Okay.
But you let the opposing team shoot 53% from the floor.
I got
50% from three.
They did 6 of 12 they made.
So what do you think is going to happen if you're struggling to put the ball in the basket? They're not struggling to put the ball in the basket. You're going to lose. 35-24 visiting team in the fourth quarter, including an 11-0 run when you guys were up 9 and they go on an 11-0 run. It's not acceptable. No.
They're the Oklahoma City Thunder. They have one really nice player. Shai Gilgeous in the fourth quarter, it goes 3 of 3, 2 of 2 from 3, has 4 assists and 11 points. And he just said, Russ, I got you.
Right.
And he got it. You got him good.
Now you have a greater appreciation for what LeBron did in the fourth quarter. Now, you can talk about, he missed those 2 shots, but I guarantee you, LeBron James brings this game home. You know that, I know that. Because guess who?
I would hope so against a team that's lost 6 other games.
But Skip, you would like to think that AD and Russ is more than enough. This is why you get Russ.
We're talking first ballot Hall of Famers. I assume Melo's going to be a first ballot, right? I know it's the
he's a 75th anniversary player.
That's what I'm saying. I would hope he is. Okay, so my point is, you think Dwight's like a slam dunk Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, they're all contributing here. And you blow a 19-point lead and a 9-point lead with 9:42 left. It's just something is very wrong. And guess who's about to be on the hot seat because you have to.
Frank Vogel.
You got to blame somebody. Somebody's got to be the scapegoat for the GOAT.
Right.
And again, as long as the GOAT was out of harm's way last night, quote unquote, he doesn't. Obviously, he's blameless for what happened. But now the pressure escalates for him to come back and save the day.
The thing is, Skip, is that we all talked about this, and you made the joke like LeBron reached out to the commissioner and got these easy games early. But you get these games earlier, games that everybody would have penciled in and say you're going to win these games, because I don't think any of these teams that they've lost to is going to be challenging for playoff spots in the Western Conference.
And remember, 12 of 15, the first 15 are at home.
At home. And you have 2 games. You had 2 games against OKC. You got 2 games against the Spurs. You would have thought.
And 2 against Houston. Yeah.
You would have thought, Skip, at 9 games, at worst case scenario, what, they're 7-2, 8-1? They're 5-4.
5-4. And by the way, the schedule continues to bless you. You get Oklahoma City twice more before the first of the year.
Yeah.
So you're going to play them 4 times before the calendar turns.
Yes.
Wow. And you haven't taken any advantage of that yet.
You get Minnesota. So these games that you should be stockpiling these easy wins, because you know the Houstons, the Nets, the Warriors, the teams of that caliber, the Nuggets, and some of these teams in the Eastern Conference, the Milwaukees, the Bulls. The Bulls, what we thought, like, the Bulls not going to be an easy win, Skip. DeMar DeRozan's playing extremely well. Zach LaVine, we know he was an all-star. It's just disappointing, their defense. They did what are they, Skip? What is this team? Because the previous 2 years they were outstanding a defensive team. They're trash defensively right now. They score plenty.
They ranked 17th right now, and they were top 3 the last 2 years.
Yeah. 1 year they won it. I mean, right now everybody's talking about they're gonna lose in the first round. They're in the play-in. They're gonna be in the play-in. 530, 538 or 635 or whatever that website was, they might have been on to something.
Maybe. I thought, bottom line, that last night was Westbrook's revenge game, his retribution game against Oklahoma City in his house, his new house in Staples. And he got off to that kind of start. I thought, here they go, and AD was just unstoppable.
But, Skip, if you remember, Skip, it was a very similar situation with AD and OKC. Remember, he made his first 6 shots out there. And I was like, okay, yeah, we gonna. And then I was like, you know what? 19. I like, they're about to lose this game again, because now it's 4 at the half. What was a commanding lead? Now this team has. Skip, you got to give a team like OKC. You got to give them a reason to say, you know what? It ain't our night tonight. Let's pack it in. Hey, coach, start playing a bunch of random guys.
I know.
All of a sudden, 19 is the 4, and they go in the locker room talking, hey guys, we got a chance. Remember, we've been here before. Remember last time they were up 26 and we came back.
It's starting to look like these bad teams have no fear of the Lakers.
Of course not. When Goat ain't there, of course they don't have any fear.
Maybe when Goat is there.
No.
Well, Goat was there against Houston, and they took it to the last shot.
No. But we brought it home.
No mercy. The Browns are reportedly planning to release Odell Beckham Jr. perhaps as early as today, as the experiment of him as Baker Mayfield's #1 receiver has officially fizzled out. OBJ's agents are now negotiating with Cleveland's front office to settle the financials that would allow Odell to clear waivers and join another team. So, Shannon, what team would be the best fit for Odell if he's released, and how much of an impact can he have?
Well, I think Odell wants to go somewhere that gives him an opportunity to win, Skip. Nobody's trying to join a team that's losing in the middle of the season. So obviously you look at the teams, Green Bay, Kansas City, the Raiders. Those are 3 teams that come to mind. Maybe the Saints, Skip, but I don't know Trevor Siemian fits his billing as a quarterback that can get him the ball.
Or Taysom Hill.
Or Taysom Hill, right. So let's go with the teams. Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers will come back after this COVID diagnosis. You look at the Raiders with Derek Carr. I like him a lot. He's playing unbelievable football. And then you have Patrick Mahomes. And I know everybody's saying, well, because what they've been trying to do, Skip, they've used 3 receivers to actually try to replace Sammy Watkins. Mecole Hardman, Brian Pringle, and Marcus Robinson. And so it's basically a revolving door. I believe Odell is better as an upgrade over all 3 of those guys. He was going to get a lot of single coverage because you're going to roll coverage towards Tyreek. You're going to try to do everything you can to take away Travis Kelce. So now that leaves Odell working one-on-one, and I know Mahomes can get him the football. Aaron Rodgers, we know Aaron Rodgers could get him the football, but here's the thing, and here is what, if I could tell Odell anything, you do realize you're joining a team at the middle of the season. You're joining a team in which you have no chemistry whatsoever with the quarterback. He's already have established relationships with receivers that's been on his team from the beginning of the year and beyond. Devontae had a long relationship with him. Tyreek, Travis Kelce have a long relationship. Carr has a relationship with Waller and Renfro. You do understand that you do not just walk in the door and automatically build chemistry. Yes, Skip, you might walk in the door like, oh, man, I like this dude, man. I think this thing's going to work. But until you get out there and you get repetitions, practice is one thing, but getting that on the game, in the actual game, is something entirely different. So for me, I would say Kansas City 1, Raiders 2, Green Bay Packers 3, in the order of which I think Odell can be a major, major contributor in one of those 3 teams. The question is, how soon, and hopefully he can clear a waiver and not go to one of those teams. Because, you know, in basketball, before they had these buyouts, they just claim it just to keep you from going to one of these good teams. So hopefully he doesn't run into a situation like that where someone just claims like, well, I ain't gonna let you go where you want to go after what you did. Because, you know, sometimes, you know, the league is like, oh, you did this on purpose to get up out of there, so we're going to make sure we do something so you don't get to go get your ultimate goal of going, pouting your way out of one place and getting a great opportunity to go somewhere else. And so I would say Kansas City 1, Raiders 2, Green Bay 3.
Okay. I think Jim just told me from the control room. What'd you say, Jim? He has been released.
Yes.
Okay, so it's official.
This was always in the work, Skip.
Yep.
The thing is that the compensation, from what I've heard, they were asking for similar package to what the Cards gave up for D-Hop and what the Falcons got for Julio.
Okay.
But Odell didn't have those stats that those guys had over the last 3 years. So, Skip, you know you weren't going to get that package. Okay,
before I answer the question, before I respond to your ranking of where he should go, I want to drive home the point about Odell. And I like him personally. I think he does have a good heart. Never quite sure about his head sometimes because he does have solo act to him the way Westbrook does, where it's more about him and his stats and his celebrity, and he's become he has such mystique as the greatest hands in the history of football, and it all dates back to that greatest ever catch he made against my Dallas Cowboys on that, was it Sunday night, I think, during his rookie year. Okay, the problem with Odell is, just to keep him in perspective, his receiving yards per game have declined each of the last 4 years. Well, they've declined because his body is betraying him the way in the very end your body started to betray yours. His started earlier because I looked at the litany of injuries that he suffered. If we go all the way back to 2012, he had a hip injury that cost him games. And then the next year he's got a hamstring tear in 2014 and a back injury that he suffered through. And then the next year he re-pulled the hamstring again. And then he had an ankle injury in 2017 along with back spasms. And then that same ankle, he fractured it in 2017. Remember that? And then he had a quad bruise in 2018. He had a groin injury that was so bad in 2019 it put him on the IR.
Sports hernia.
Yep. And then in 2020, he had back spasms early. Then he had a bad toe injury. And finally, it ended with the ACL tear at Cincinnati.
Okay.
Man, it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of wear and tear on a guy who thrives on his electricity, his quickness, his burst. I don't see it. I haven't been seeing it in the last few games that I have watched him.
Nothing wears on you more than those injuries than being in practicing and playing and not getting the football.
And in a place you didn't want to be in the first place. Odell was born to play in the Big Apple, and he had it better. It's like the grass isn't greener in Cleveland, and you learn, I got to get out of here. I want to go to L.A., and he winds up in Cleveland. Well, he had a good, strong relationship with Baker before he went out there. But he was referring to it as out there. Y'all have any good restaurants out there? I don't think he ever got comfortable with living in Cleveland, Ohio. That's my problem with going on to Green Bay, Wisconsin. I just don't know if Odell would ever be quite happy as the weather has turned cold already in Green Bay.
Well, the weather isn't much better in Kansas City.
Okay, it's not much better, but if I had my druthers, I like Kansas City a lot. I could live there before I could live in Green Bay.
They got some good barbecue out
there. They do.
You get tired eating those brats in Green Bay.
I've been there many times to Green Bay, and I was always happy to get out. And they're really good people. They're great fans. I get that. I just wouldn't want to live and play football there for a living. You know, that's your brother did, and you visited him.
Oh, it's a football type. They eat, breathe, sleep, whatever, daydream. It's football. It's Packers.
Okay. And yet, Devontae is the man. There is no question about that. I think he's the best receiver in football. And Lazard has been there, and Valdez-Scantling has been there. And obviously, Tunyon's gone now. But the point is the pecking order has been established there. And I don't doubt that eventually he could find a fit on the field. I just don't know if he would love Green Bay. Which brings me to my choice from the start. Was the Oakland Raiders.
Vegas Raiders.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was calling them. But they're in my heart, they're still the Oakland Raiders.
You like me in the San Diego Chargers.
That is
LA
correct.
Chargers.
Okay. Here's the problem I have with the other team in that division is Kansas City.
Right.
They're struggling, so you could argue they have a greater need because I remind people the Raiders are right now the number 2 seed in the AFC.
Correct.
I remind everyone that right now they're sitting atop the AFC West at 5-2.
That is correct.
And I remind everybody they just cleared the air and the decks because John Gruden is no more.
Right.
And I think some of the players thought the Wicked Witch is dead, and They've got a new guy. It was the longtime right-hand man of John Gruden, but Bisaccia is the flip side of Gruden. He's just live and let live. He sort of just kicks back and let's just be us. Let's just be you, right?
And due to unforeseen circumstances, they are very much in need of a wide receiver.
Okay, very unfortunate circumstances. Here's the problem I have with your Kansas City. Tyreek Hill right now leads the National Football League in targets with 90. He's actually tied for first.
Right.
That's a lot of passes thrown his way because when in doubt, Patrick Mahomes, maybe to a fault, he looks for Tyreek or he looks for the tight end, right? Yep. And that's Travis Kelce, who has 71 targets, which is tied for 7th. So they're first and 7th in the league in targets. Guess where the not Oakland Raiders are, the Las Vegas Raiders are in targets.
Right.
Their leading receiver is Hunter Renfrow. He's got 51 targets. That's tied for 40th. Their second receiver is Darren Waller. You love him, tight end. He's kind of a hybrid wide receiver tight end.
Yep.
He's got 53 targets. That's tied for 35th. So they don't have near the acclaim or the targets or the celebrity that Tyreek and Kelce have.
Right.
I would fear for Patrick Mahomes. He's already messed up enough psychologically. He's still mired in doubts. He's still trying to live up to his hype. Should I throw it sidearm? Should I throw it behind my back or between my legs? I know that's what they want. I know it worked for a while, but it's not working now. Should I try to be more conventional? Should I stand in the pocket longer? He's second-guessing every decision he makes. Do you really want to add Odell to that mix?
Here's the thing, but he also wants to be on a team that's really pass first. Josh Jacobs, they run the football a little bit more. Well, a little bit. Everybody runs the ball a lot more than what Kansas City. Kansas City is 70+% passing the football. And so some of those targets that was going to Tyreek and going to Kelce, I believe will go to Odell because Odell will be getting a lot of single coverage. Odell can do things other than go deep. Most of those other guys with the Kansas City skip, they're speed guys. And I understand. What Kansas City really needs is a Mike Evans. They need a big body guy that can jump up and catch contested balls. Unfortunately, they have one, but Josh Gordon is just a shell of what he once was from either 2 years ago, and he's definitely not what he was definitely not what he was in Cleveland, and even when he went to Kansas City, he's not that. Excuse me, Kansas City.
New England. Yes,
he's not that.
He's not that.
So,
I agree.
So they got a big body, but really, he's not going to give them production that they want. So I believe Odell would be very well there because they'll run first, and he has a quarterback and an offense and a coordinator that knows how to get the receiver position the football. I agree with you. The Raiders might be a better situation, but they're going to run the football with Josh Jacobs and that running game a lot more than what Kansas City or Green Bay. Now, Green Bay is probably a little bit more 50-50, probably 52-48 as far as run pass because they do have Aaron Jones and they do have Dillon. They do. So, and we've seen them lean on the running game, Skip, that Thursday night that we saw them in Arizona.
They are capable.
Right. So I think for him, it's a chance to win. Kansas City's not out of it yet, especially if they can win this game on Sunday.
I agree.
Definitely put them right back in the thick of it. And so I think ideally for him, Kansas City, Raiders, Green Bay, like I said, New Orleans, I understand New Orleans, but sometimes, Skip, every homecoming is not a homecoming. We get that a lot.
He's from
New Orleans. Yep. So, and I get that, Skip, but I don't know if I want to go with Trevor Siemian.
Back to the Raiders, back to the fit. I believe City is very important in Odell's fit. Big Apple, perfect. Anything L.A. would have been perfect because he has an off-season home here in Beverly Hills. Other than that, there's only one other place to go to me, and it's Vegas, baby. It's where Odell would feel comfortable because it's bright lights. It's not big city, but it's glitz, it's glamour, it's got mystique, it's got aura. The Raiders have Oakland tradition, and it's a cool team to play for. The team, obviously, as you referred to, the just the horrendous situation that happened. Now they have a glaring need for a wide receiver because
absolutely.
Hunter Renfro's a little possession slot receiver type, but he leads him with 38 catches, and Darren Waller has only 33 catches. And then it drops off to the other starting receiver is Bryan Edwards with 18 catches. Well, Odell could thrive.
Yeah.
He could be a centerpiece for them and without being any threat to a Devontae or a Tyreek or a Kelsey.
Right.
It would work. It might just put them over the top. I'm just not sure how much Odell has left. I fear that it's almost it's going on Josh Gordon. It's not that severe yet, but it's heading there where you say, wait a second, we thought you were Odell, but you're actually about half of Odell right now.
Right. And that's the thing. No, he needs to go back to being OBJ. Right now, he is Odell. It's kind of like Carmelo. For a time, there people, instead of calling him Melo, they were calling him Carmelo. Yeah. Now he's back to being Melo. Skip, I had a lot of conversation with Odell this offseason. And when I was talking to him, checking on him when he was going through, because he was out here training, I was just, touching with him from time to time. And I just had one day, we just had a heart-to-heart. I said, Odell, bro, I'm going to need you to be like a snake. And he's like, what you mean, big homie? I said, I need you to shed your skin, but I need you to grow also. I say, some of the things that you're doing is not beneficial for winning. Some of the things that you're doing is not beneficial for Odell. It's not team-centric. I say, but I need you to grow. I need you to understand where you've been wrong, things that you've said that were wrong, things that you've done that were wrong. I say, I don't need you to just tell me this because you think it's going to appease me because I see better than I hear. He said, I got you. He says, I've been talking. I got you. He said, I'm going to do that. He says, I understand. Yes. He said, you know what, man? He said, I appreciate that. He said, one thing I can respect about you, he said, you call me on my stuff. He said, you call me. You say, you tell it like it is. He says, a lot of times I didn't like to hear what you had to say, but you were 100% right. He said, I appreciate you taking the time to check on me. Not want anything. I've never asked Odell for anything. Don't need anything from any of the players. But I will reach out. And players have reached out to me, and we've had conversations. And if they want to share it, that's up to them. I don't share. But Odell, I feel Odell would like for me to share this part of him because I do feel that he's tried to grow. I do feel that he's tried to mature. But Skip, it's just like anything. You can be in a relationship and think, oh, she's perfect, has her own, college educated. She's everything. Skip, and you get together and it just doesn't work. This is that situation, what seemed to be ideal. A fresh start for Odell, an opportunity for the Browns to get a #1 receiver. It just didn't work, and that's okay. No one has to be at fault. Skip, sometimes a relationship, you can be together for 20 years. And you split away. And Skip, it's nobody's fault. It's just, you know what? It's not working anymore.
Okay, but where he's in peril now is if he goes to another team and it doesn't work, then the league is going to sit back and say, wait a second.
Well, Skip, it might be a situation if it doesn't work. It might not be for personnel reasons. It might not be because of attitude. He just might not have the juice anymore. And that's okay, too.
That might be the case.
As long as it's not related to him getting in conflict. And I don't think it was a conflict, Skip. Him and Baker just didn't mesh. Odell is always going to be, Odell is bigger than Baker because Odell has worldwide acclaim. Odell can travel and go hang out with Drake and hang out with LeBron hang out with guys that Baker is not going to be able to do that with. So
he doesn't have more commercials than Baker. I got it. I got it. I'm with you. I understand that. But we're seeing Russell Westbrook in this. He could be on his last stop also because if he fails miserably with the Lakers, then the league is going to say, I don't know about this, right? He's not out of juice, obviously. He's just being the same Russ he's always been.
That's not conducive for winning. Yeah, I mean, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you getting these big stats. Russ has as many triple-doubles as every other team in the NBA except the Lakers. So we get that. But Odell, Skip, I think it just didn't work. And like I said, I've had great conversations with him this offseason. I'm glad that they've come to this kind of resolution. I'm glad they've come to this. So now Cleveland can move on. Odell can move on. Wish each other well. It just didn't work, Skip. No harm, no foul.
Big homie, huh? That's what he calls you?
And guys,
he's called me a lot of things, but not big homie.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good birthday gift.
Birthday. He got his wish.
It is happy birthday.
He wanted to be released from the Browns, so he got what he wanted. But let's move on, because Dak Prescott is expected to return against Denver after missing last week's win over Minnesota with a strained right calf. Now, the Cowboys franchise quarterback said he's pretty close to 100%, and Zach Martin said Dak looked great and ready to go in practice yesterday. So, Shannon, does this mean your Broncos have no chance against Dallas?
Slim chance.
Slim?
Slim.
I thought he left town, right?
Yeah, we'll say, okay, they got no chance. You don't put him on a bus up out of Dallas, they got no chance. Skip, I just don't believe the Broncos offense can score enough points to keep up with the Cowboys offense. And that's what it comes down to. When you play the Cowboys, you play these teams with these potent offenses, can your offense, even if you got a great defense, because eventually, Skip, if they go a quarter here and not score a touchdown, or they go to the half and they only got 10 points, you know it's just a matter of time because they're so explosive. When you look at the receiver set they have, you look at the running game, you look at the offensive line. Now, it says, I've been reading that Tyron Smith isn't going to play. They're going to kick Terrence Steele to left tackle. Lyle Collins is going to come back to his customary position. Okay, and you still got Zach Martin. They can run the football. They haven't shown the ability to run the football because Zim, the head coach and the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, says, we're going to make Cooper Rush beat us.
Yep.
Well, he did. He threw the ball well enough to beat you. The running game, Gallup and Zeke did not have big days. Skip. Matter of fact, they were very pedestrian. I just do not believe. And I think the Broncos have a very good defense, Skip. They're not 2015 defense, but they're good. I just don't know if Teddy Bridgewater and that offense can score enough points or can match Dak score for score. You can't turn the ball over against this team. And you can't put your defense on a short field. You're going to have to make Dallas drive the football. But I think Dallas is good enough. From what I've seen, especially with Dak chomping at the bit to get back in there, Skip, they're going to be raring to go. And they're at home. And the Cowboy fans feel that this is something special. You feel like this is something special. They want to show that they're special. I just think it's going to be too much for the Broncos to overcome, and I think they're going to win by double digits.
Do you really?
Well, Skip, the line has been going back and forth. It was at 110 to 10. I saw 9.5. I see 9. So I don't know what it's going to be.
9.5 right now. Go ahead.
But I do believe they'll cover this spread
by more than 10 points.
Yes.
Man, I hope you're right. But I remind you, Mr. Hall of Famer, once upon a time, Denver Bronco, Shannon Sharpe. You have been raving all year, dating back to the preseason, about your Denver Bronco defense. Am I right about that? Because I'm looking at a defense that has a young man that I wanted dearly to be a Dallas Cowboy. Patrick Surtain is at one corner. Kyle Fuller's at the other corner. Justin Simmons is at one safety. Kareem Jackson's at the other safety. You loved him before the year started, right? And on offense, you have raved since college about Jerry Jeudy. He was hurt for a while, but he's back.
He's back. First game back.
You told me he was the best receiver in that draft, and I said, no, it's CeeDee Lamb. And he's there. He's going to play Sunday. And Cortland Sutton has been really good out of Southern Methodist University, and now he's going home, so to speak, to play at Jerry World.
Tim Patrick.
Tim Patrick. Noah Fant's been pretty good. Melvin Gordon can run the rock a little bit. Not
Noah
bad.
Fant in the protocol situation with COVID.
That's a good one. Okay, so no Noah Fant, but the point is, they just beat a Washington team that I still have some respect for.
No, you don't.
I do. I've told you from the start, they're pretty good. I think Philly's a little bit better. They're the #1 threat, but Washington was the team that you liked the most.
I did.
Okay?
Before.
And they just went to Denver and lost 17 to 10.
Right.
And Teddy Bridgewater wasn't very good, but he can be always good enough, just good enough to beat you, right? Because I will never, ever forget that fateful night on a Sunday night at New Orleans when he had to step in for Drew Brees. Remember this?
Yeah.
And my Cowboys were off to the races, and Dak had thrown parties. Remember this?
Yeah.
On the Giants and at Washington and on the Dolphins.
Told you wasn't good, though.
And you told me Dak wasn't either.
No, I told you your team wasn't good because you were playing cream puffs.
Okay, and here we went to New Orleans, and they did have a defense, but they didn't have a lot of offense on that night. They managed to kick 4 field goals to get to 12. Dak couldn't get my team past 10. There was a late rally, and they had a shot maybe on a Randall Cobb throw down the middle late in the game that didn't quite connect. And they lost 12-10 to Teddy Bridgewater, who went 5-0 standing in for Drew Brees.
Right. Well, Skip, if the game was at home, I might be willing to say, Skip, I think the Cowboys win, but they're not going to cover. But Dak is a very different player in 2021 than he was then. Dak is an MVP candidate. Dak was not an MVP candidate then. He is in complete control. He has, I mean, he's like Rain Man when it comes to this offense now. You look at the way he carries himself. You look at the manner in which he behaves in the pocket. This is a different Dak now than what he was then.
Okay, and the key difference I've been telling you was he finally did get paid, and he really got paid. $75 million he makes just this year. Some people would consider that a burden I've got to live up to. Well, it may be a bargain in the long run, but all of a sudden, I'm saying Dak is in a new serene comfort zone where it's like, I'm a made man.
Right.
Now I can heave a sigh of relief. It's not me versus Jerry. I'm not playing for a contract. I'm not betting on myself. He paid me.
Right. He got the protection of the contract. Because a lot of Skip's mind's free.
Okay.
He got nothing to worry about. I'm good.
And that's the way he's played.
Yes.
I'm also going to remind you that your Denver Broncos are second in the National Football League in points allowed.
Yeah.
I still think they're dangerous on defense. You have completely just sold them out.
Yes,
you got no use for them after you raved about them. You told me they were going to be really good on defense. They did give up Von Miller last week, but he wasn't contributing at a high level. So help me out. Are they just fodder for my Dallas Cowboys? Are they just going to be so much meat on the hoof in Texas?
Okay, you tell me what's so impressive. They beat the Giants, they beat the Jags, they beat the Jets, they beat Washington.
Okay. Well, they won their first three against those three bad teams, and I'll give you that. Then they lost to the Ravens, they lost to Pittsburgh, they lost to the Raiders, and
they lost to the Browns.
Okay. And then they bounced back when I least expected
against Washington,
and got to 4-4 by beating Washington, a team you loved. In fact, you went all in on Washington. You took the field, but it was mostly on Washington.
It was mostly because I thought Fitzmagic was going to be there, and he got hurt opening week. I think opening week.
Yeah, he did. Okay.
And so now I'm
it's
with
Taylor Heineke, right?
Yeah, now I'm stuck with Taylor Heineke.
Yeah.
And that's what I got. That's what I'm stuck with.
Well, again, that front seven you told me is really good.
You know good well that front seven has not performed like you thought they would. That front seven has been a major disappointment. If we want to talk about disappointments, I think of disappointments, the Washington football team defense has been a major disappointment, especially the front seven, when you have all those first rounders up there and it has not materialized.
Are you willing to concede your bet?
No, why I got to concede right now?
Well, you don't have to do anything. I was just offering you the option if you want to. You took the field for 10 cases of Diet Mountain Dew.
You want me to grovel over here?
I'm going to rake you over the coals the rest of the year. But here's what I'm up against this Sunday.
What?
My man, CeeDee Lamb, sprained his ankle, and I think it's pretty bad. He's been limited in practice. And by the way, my man Amari did suck it up and play, but he's got a tweaked hamstring. He's been limited. Blake Jarwin has a hip injury that I think is pretty serious, and I don't think he's going to be able to play.
I'm just trying to figure out, man.
And finally, I thought Michael Gallup was supposed to be on track to be back for this game, and now they're saying, nah, not quite yet.
Yeah, because Cedric Wilson is playing quite well. Not quite yet. Scott, maybe I wasn't as tough as I thought I was. Because these guys playing with injuries and putting up these monster numbers with tweaked hamstrings and ankles. I mean, I was struggling. I was getting injections in my ankles, and I'm struggling to make it. And they out there on ankles and just be balling out.
I don't know. That's the way of the world today, but I got to live with it because it's possible three of the four who's not going to Gallup's out anyway. But
Clarence Hill Jr. I read Clarence Hill Jr. and he says CeeDee Lamb's going to play.
Well, does he? Does he know that for a fact?
Well, I mean, he's not what he said.
A lot of people thought Dak was going to play last week.
Well, hold on. Ain't no people thought. Now, I want to know what the NFL is going to do about this because Amari Cooper said we knew Friday that Dak was not going to play. Now, I remember we got fined $50,000 when I said we knew John wasn't going to play, and he didn't play, and they just listed him as out the day of the game. They fined us $50,000.
I'd say that's fineable.
Yeah, fine him. I want restitution.
Yep, I would agree with that.
Yeah. I'm dry snitching.
I will not agree with you on your pick. I don't think they're going to be able to win by 10 or more points. I think it's going to be closer than that. I think it'll be a battle. I think it'll be lower scoring. I'm going Dallas 24-17, but closer than you think. Teddy will keep them in the game, as will their defense, allowing only the second most points scored.
34-17.
34-17? I would bet on it, except I'm not going to bet against my team. But I will remind you on Monday morning that you picked 34-17.
Yeah.
Okay?
I might not come in Monday morning because they got a game on Sunday night. We got a game Saturday.
Oh, they being the Lakers.
Yeah. So there's a good chance I might not come in. And especially if Alabama don't do what Alabama's supposed to do on Saturday. Can I do Zoom?
No mercy. Aaron Rodgers will miss this weekend's game against the Chiefs after contracting COVID, and the fact that he was ruled out days ago all but confirmed he is not vaccinated. Social media was quick to compare his situation to Kyrie Irving's, who was unable to play in Brooklyn due to local vaccination requirements, and the Nets have therefore told him to stay away from the team until he can be a full-time participant. Shannon, compare and contrast the Aaron Rodgers and Kyrie Irving vaccination situation.
As much as I would have hoped Kyrie would have gotten the vaccine, I still hope Kyrie gets the vaccine. He was very, very clear up front. There was no parsing of words. There was no trying to skirt and try to be coy. He says, I'm not comfortable putting this in my body. The city mandated. It's not the team. This is not a team decision. This was a city mandate that says if you're going to go into Barclays, Skip, you need to be vaccinated. You need to be inoculated. You need to have the vaccine have entered your body to fight a specific disease.
Yep.
Kyrie says, I'm not comfortable with this. Skip, he didn't try to go get false documentation. He didn't try to seek alternative methods.
No.
He says, I will accept whatever consequences comes along with my decision. I will accept that. What Aaron Rodgers did was try to be coy. He tried to parse words. I'm immunized. Well, the CDC defined immunized as having the vaccine enter the body, Skip, to fight that disease or receiving an antibody to build up the antibodies. The alternative treatment that Aaron Rodgers was trying to seek would not immunize him. There's the difference. He lied. He wanted... Kyrie was willing to suffer the consequences. Aaron Rodgers did not want the blowback that was going to come with the consequences of him not being vaccinated. So he played coy. He lied. Oh, I'm immunized. How? So tell me, I just want to know the alternative. So was he going to mix some oatmeal, some honey? Because when he went into an independent arbitrator, they basically like, man, get up out this office.
Infectious disease expert.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm glad the NFL did this because they go say, oh, the NFL just tried to suppress Aaron Rodgers' right. I'm glad they took it to somebody independent that specializes in this. Not Aaron Rodgers is going to some quack that says, well, if you do this, it'll build up your antibodies. No. And it lays it out. The NFL has a policy that's very similar to the CDC. It was about the vaccines, about certain level of antibodies and how you get the antibodies up. Aaron Rodgers saw none of those treatments. He tried to go outside. So he tried to avoid the consequences that Kyrie took on head on. Everybody was ripping him, from Charles Barkley to a lot of pundits. Rip Kyrie. Aaron Rodgers didn't want that. So he got, I'm immunized. And then, Skip, he said, but I don't hold it against the guys that's unvaccinated. You unvaccinated, dum-dum. And you up here trying to be coy. You know, I'm immunized, but I don't hold it against the guys that's unvaccinated. What do you think you are? So that's the difference. One guy faced the consequences of his decision, didn't lie, didn't try to get fake vaccination cards, didn't try to go find somebody, because you can find somebody that'll say, whatever you got wrong with you, you'll find somebody that will say, yeah, that's what's wrong with him. That's what Aaron Rodgers tried to do. Aaron Rodgers tried to go out of the scope. Find someone that would say, well, yeah, he can do this and it'll build up his antibodies. And the NFL said, no, you're unvaccinated. So there are totally two different situations. One guy lied, the other guy didn't and faced the consequences. The other guy lied because he didn't want to face the consequences. That's the difference.
I'm not sure I completely agree with everything you just said. I'm full force with you on Aaron Rodgers, as we discussed many times yesterday.
Yes.
But I find both situations equally troubling for very, very obviously different reasons. Obviously, there was no law in Green Bay,
right.
or Aaron couldn't. If there had been a law passed in Green Bay that you have to be vaccinated to set foot on Lambeau Field, well, we wouldn't be having this conversation, or he would have had to make a call on it, and maybe he would have to make the Kyrie call.
Right.
My issue with Kyrie is, you said he made it very clear. Well, I'm still not clear about why he chose not to.
No, Skip. He didn't say, but he said he doesn't feel comfortable. Now, he didn't give you the reason.
I know, but remember, his quote was on the IG Live that he did, I'm not pro-vax or anti-vax. Right. And I'm like, you're not. It seems like you're really anti-vax. That's all. My conclusion I have to leap to is this. And he went back and forth with his teammates until finally Steve Nash and Sean Marks, they just said, no more. Right. We're out. You go home and stay home as long as you want to stay home, and we will continue to pay you for the road games, but not for the home games.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So it still bothers me in part because I'm a fan of the Nets, that Kyrie helped. He was the driving force to put this team together. Right. And then all of a sudden, on the verge of a year where they are the prohibitive preseason favorite, he says, I'm out. Right. Okay, I respect that. But I'd like to know a little bit more, because you still make $35 million a year. You're going to have to cut that in half. But $35 million, $17 million, it's a lot of money. Right. And I just thought he owed it to his fandom to say, I just don't believe in this for religious reasons, whatever it is. Right. It could be 1,000 things. I'm still not sure. I don't even want to speculate on the why of it. Right. But he's still dug in because he's still not playing, obviously.
Well, maybe he's hoping for a new regime to come in, because there's going to be a new mayor. And
there is a new, as of last Tuesday night, there's a new mayor. And there is speculation that the new mayor would go in a different direction on the vaccine mandate laws. Right. And that could happen as soon as January 1. Right. So maybe he's just waiting and seeing, because maybe all of a sudden things will open up and he can play unvaccinated the home games. Okay? So that's a possibility. Obviously, Aaron got away with putting his team at such high risk. But what really bothers me the most is the shots of him maskless, shaking hands with the opposition game after game after game. That you're threatening everybody. You're threatening the other team.
You watched the game last night? I saw Carson Wentz running off the field at halftime with a mask on.
I know. Well, he's been up front about it. I give him that. Kirk Cousins has been up front about it.
But see, here's the thing.
And little Cole Beasley has been up front about it.
Yeah. But here's the thing. You knew Kyrie didn't have the vaccine. One guy didn't tell you why he wasn't getting the vaccine, but made you think he had got the vaccine. That's the problem that I have with him, Skip. If he don't, look, I want both guys to get the vaccine. But if you said I'm not getting the vaccine, you're up front with it, and you don't try to skirt an inch. He tried to skirt, Skip. That's the problem.
But Kyrie was up front because he had no choice, right? I mean, his hand was forced by the law. Right. Okay? Okay,
but I'm saying...
And I'm not saying that he would have tried to circumvent. It's just his hand got forced. Like, you have to divulge. And finally, we didn't know anything until he decided to go on IG Live.
Right. But, Skip, how many times we've seen people that we find people that they're selling fake vaccination cards? He could have easily, Kyrie Irving, with that kind of money, could have easily got a fake vaccination card.
Yeah, he could have.
Easy.
Yeah, but he wanted to take a stand because that's who he is. And what was his quote? Nobody is hijacking this voice. That's what he said on IG Live. This is my life. I get to do whatever I want with this. This is one body that I get here. Right? Okay? And I respect that. Yes. You can go home. You can stay home.
But what did Aaron Rodgers try to do, Skip? He tried to offer you a package that I'm immunized, or however you want to say it, Skip. But he tried to make it seem either he had taken the vaccines or he had got a treatment for the antibodies, and that he was good. Yep. So that's the problem. Okay. Kyrie did none of that.
I got it. I got to tell you, though, I know people here in Los Angeles who believe with all their heart and soul that there are homeopathic remedies for COVID, that you can create antibodies herbally, however you. I don't really understand the essence of it, but the science, the medicine would tell you no. Right. Okay. But I believe that Aaron believes with all his heart and soul that whatever I'm doing worked. Okay,
but that's how he's wired. Aaron Rodgers thinks he's the smartest guy in the NFL.
Agree. I told you that from the start.
That's it. That's the thing with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers thinks he knows better than Dr. Fauci. He knows better than the CDC. He knows any infectious disease or virologist.
Yeah.
He knows better than them.
Okay, but don't you think Kyrie's in the same boat?
Yes.
Kyrie thinks he knows better.
Yes.
Because Kyrie has high intellect,
yes,
high IQ. And he wants to be that rebel with a cause.
Right.
He wants to be the truth teller. He wants to shatter the mold.
Right.
He wants to tell you that the earth is flat and all the, the literati and the Illuminati and all the thing, all this, all those conspiracy theories that he has. And I respect the heck out of that. And yet he got forced by law to say, ooh, I got to take a stand here. And now I feel like he's dug in on his stubborn pride.
Even before it became a law, Kyrie was like, I'm not getting the vaccine. Even before it came a city mandate.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers led you to believe. I don't believe there's a person out there that after he gave that statement and said what he said and then said, but for those that are unvaccinated, I don't hold that against them. I don't think there was a person that thought Aaron Rodgers was not vaccinated.
Totally agree.
And he deliberately parsed those words.
He did.
It's going to be very interesting. So, Aaron, why didn't you just use the term vaccine? Because, like I said, Skip, again, that's that smartness in him. I can play on it. I can get right there to the edge. But I didn't say I was vaccinated. But you carried on as if you were. You were giving in-person interviews, which you could only give if you're vaccinated. So you kept leading people to believe. Okay, that was presumptuous on our fault.
Yep.
But Skip, in a press conference, Skip, you're not trying to be an investigative reporter.
Yep.
You're not saying with Aaron, are you vaccinated or are you not vaccinated? So can you offer us some clarity? But I think moving forward, when a guy is going to be, and he's not going to want to call on you and let you ask questions because he knows you're going to get in depth. That's how he is. Only if you ask me nice questions will I let you ask me a question.
Well, everybody accepted that he was trying to express himself in a more erudite way, a more sophisticated way. I'm immunized. And so everybody said, oh, well, that's a higher way of describing vaccinated.
Right.
No,
it wasn't.
Not.
That was his way of saying, I'm going to lead you to believe that I'm vaccinated. When actuality, I'm not vaccinated. And I'm going to put people at risk because I'm going to go to a Halloween party unvaccinated, don't know the status of a lot of the people other than that, and I could possibly bring this back to the team and not only blow up my team, but if we got a game that week, blow up the other team and they can miss their paychecks too because of my selfishness.
Okay. There is some proof here for Aaron Rodgers because what we don't know is how strong his symptoms are. Because if you are not vaccinated and you do get COVID, especially the Delta strains, the new strains, they can rock you. So I wonder if how sick he got without being vaccinated. I
wouldn't be totally disappointed if he missed 2 games and they end up losing home field advantage by a game. And that would be right on time for me. That would be right on time. Since you want to be selfish and make it about Aaron Rodgers. I love how everybody talk about we brothers. You know that, Skip? Everybody always talk about we brothers. We're a family. We're a team.
That's what he says.
All of us. And Kyrie said that too.
Yep.
Kyrie said we're family. We're brother. We're team.
Yep.
Everybody used that when it comes to something being beneficial for them. I guess Aaron Rodgers didn't see this as something beneficial. So now y'all a team. Now I'm going to ride this thing shotgun.
So it sounds like Shannon Sharpe is now the biggest Jordan Love fan.
Oh yeah, I'm rooting for him. I don't want them to beat the Chiefs because I want the Chiefs to get back in this thing. I think the playoffs will be a lot better if the Chiefs are in it. But if he went out there and threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and they still lost, I wouldn't be terribly disappointed.
Okay. All I know about Jordan Love is this show has been built on Jordan Love. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Undisputed, Jordan Love. It's like Michael Jordan Love, right?
You hate.
That's what we do here. We have Jordan Love.
But old Coy, I'm immunized. I'm immunized.
That's him.
But for those guys that are unvaccinated, I don't hold that against them.
That's that guy.
No mercy. The Lakers will be without LeBron for at least a week with an abdominal strain. According to The Athletic, LA is taking a cautious approach with their superstar's return. His latest injury comes after LeBron missed 2 games with a sore ankle, and the Lakers have gone 1-2 without him. Shannon, how concerned are you that LeBron, in year 19, is becoming injury-prone?
I'm concerned because, Skip, as we start to age, muscles do not have the elasticity they did when we were younger, and it's just like a car. I mean, Skip, you know, the old school, and everybody's into the old school cars, but you can't drive them 100 miles an hour for an extended period of time, or you're going to have oil and transmission fluid all over your driveway. Well, this is what you're asking LeBron James to do. He's a 1969, 68 Camaro. He's in pristine condition.
I had a 67. Can we do that? 67 Camaro? Make him a 67.
Okay, we got a 67.
SS 350.
You got an SS?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a nice one. RS or the Capo. They're all very good models. But you're asking him to do a lot. And people say, well, Tom Brady's 44. But Tom Brady, football in the quarterback position, you're not running. That's why we don't see very many receivers, unlike a la Jerry Rice, play in their late teens and play at a high level, because you're asking those fast twitch muscles to fire with greater frequency. And so now you get
You played until you were 35.
I'm 35 years of age.
Okay.
And I could feel, could I have played another year? Yes. But I don't know if I was going to be able to go much further than 15 seasons, Skip, because even in the offseason I was training, I had to take more time to recover in between sets. I needed more time off to recover in between days. And that's what we're seeing from LeBron James. We're not used to seeing centers. Kareem played until he was 42. Robert Parrish played late. Kevin Willis. But guys like that. We saw it with Kobe. We saw Kobe's body start to failing.
Did we?
From the shoulder, they had the labrum, and then he had the Achilles, he had the knee. Everything just started to go. Because Kobe was a guy that was very athletic. He relied on his athleticism. And Skip, I got to fire quickly. I got to move quickly. I got to move in a hurry. Imagine LeBron that's 30 pounds, 40 pounds heavier than Kobe, that's being asked to move in the same way. So it is concerning to me, because this is not somebody running into his knee. Skip, the ankle, somebody ran into it both times. The groin, now we're getting injuries those are soft tissue injuries. And those are always concerning as we start to age. So, yes, that would be a concern for me. And I'm sure, because the guy's spending $2 million a year. We know he's getting the proper sleep. We know he's getting the proper nutrition and the proper training. And it still can't ward those off. So, yes, that's something to keep an eye on moving forward.
For so many years, I told you, this man is Iron Man.
Yes.
This man is as close to indestructible as a human can get. I don't know how many times in the past somebody did fall against his ankle or he turned it completely over. It even happened in the finals in the bubble. He turned it completely over against Miami, maybe game 2. And I said, oh, God. And he just hopped right up and went right on like nothing had happened.
Tighten the shoe up and played on.
Play on. I don't know how many times something happened to him where I said, God, that looked like that hurt. Nope. Play on. High minutes, night after night. LeBron doesn't load manage. I want to remind everybody that as we speak, LeBron James has played 61,347 NBA minutes. That's regular season and playoffs. 61,347. That's third all-time behind the two Ks, Kareem and Karl, as in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Karl Malone.
Right.
Third all-time and counting and rising. Man, it's a lot of minutes.
It's a lot of minutes.
So you can forget about year 19, that's fine, or you can forget about going on 37 years of age on December the 30th.
Right.
I care about mileage. On the 67 Camaro. What are the miles on it? Because if it's got 200,000 miles, you're going to have problem after problem. 61,000 minutes. It's so many minutes at 6'9", 260 that it's hard not to start going Kobe. And that's what I'd written down this morning. It feels like he's starting to go Kobe. Not terrible things, not career threatening, but it's one after another, after another, after another, to where he's becoming injury prone because in the end, he's human. Okay, so Tom Brady has made it to 44 because he figured out the TB12 method featuring Alex Guerrero, who works on him constantly. I'm sure Tom is spending as much money and time on his body, obviously. But Tom doesn't play basketball.
Right.
He plays football.
Imagine trying to be 44 playing DB or playing wide receiver, Skip.
You just couldn't.
Exactly.
You just couldn't. I don't think we will ever see it. I feel comfortable in saying that.
I think Darryl Green made it to 40.
40?
I think he did. I think he played 20 seasons.
He was freakish.
Right.
You want to talk about fast twitch? Whew.
Yeah.
And he was still twitching fairly fast at 40.
Right.
But the problem here is that all of a sudden, once he got to L.A., it started. And he had the groin the first year.
Right.
And it got me because it cost him 27 games. And I thought, he'll just shrug this one off and he'll be back in a week or 10 days. No, it took 27 games.
Right.
And then last year, it was 27 more after the Solomon Hill issue falling against his ankle on that Saturday afternoon. And yet in that game, it looked like he was going Iron Man because he jumped right up after he writhed for a while. He jumped up. And he ran down to the corner, and he caught the pass, and he made the shot from the corner, and then he trotted up court. And I thought, he's going to do it again. And then he said, no, I can't do it.
Right.
And he did walk off the court under his own power and walk up the tunnel.
Right.
And I thought, we'll see him in a week, or, I don't know, 10 days. No, 27 games. And then he said it plagued him all into the playoffs. And he said it plagued him 2 months into the off, 2 months, where he said he tried to stay off and do no basketball activity for the first 2 months of the offseason.
Yeah.
And then the key quote came from his GM, Rob Pelinka, who said, LeBron slimmed up. I like slimmed down, but he slimmed up, he said. So he lost some weight to come into the season. I don't see him losing that much. I don't know. He still looks the same to me. But
Skip, I get it, though, guy. Michael Thomas. Remember, he had that high ankle sprain, and now he has to have another procedure.
But that was surgery. That required surgery, yes.
Right, because he had the ankle. He was out like 8 weeks.
Yeah, that's got to be a ligament tear. There's something really wrong with that one. And now he's done for this year.
He's done for the year. Okay. So basically, he's going to be basically 2 years of football.
Well, obviously, he's not in year 19.
Right.
So that's a whole nother issue. But now he's had another ankle this year that Vogel said it's not the same as the Solomon Hill injury, right?
It's a different spot. It's the same ankle, just a different spot.
Okay, and then I made mention the other night, against Houston. Houston's making it a game in the fourth quarter, and LeBron's on a tear, and he end up scoring 12 or 14?
Scored 14.
14 in the fourth, but he was on a tear where he scored 10 straight points. And then all of a sudden, I'm watching the local telecast, Sports Spectrum LA, and what do I see? I see this. And I say, what? Yeah. He's walking up the tunnel to do what? Are you going drama king on us? Because you look fine. And I'm assuming this is the start of what just happened. I'm assuming this is an ab strain. Yeah.
Right? I was there, man, don't tell me the man that hurt his groin again. Yeah. But I didn't see him go down. So I'm just
abdominal, stomach. Yeah. Okay. It's some kind of pull or strain.
Right.
Okay. And then he goes back on the floor and continues to play, and I don't see anything that gives me cause to pause.
But remember, Skip, I saw him after the game, and he had a bunch of ice in his abdominal area, groin area, something. And he always has ice on his back and on his knees. But I said, well, Skip, I saw some ice in the front, too. Yeah. So that let me know something was going on. But like you said, I'm thinking, okay, but he came back in the ball game. He's going to be okay.
Okay. And he did take the 2 more shots. He missed them. Maybe I should give him a break now because he was fighting with an ab strain of some kind that was it just plagues you. It just hurts.
It's annoying.
It's annoying where you don't feel full range of motion. Okay. So here we go again, and now they're saying, quote unquote, at least a week. Right. So his recovery power is not the same.
No, Skip. The thing is that if you play a professional sport, if you play sports, you realize as you get older, the injuries come with greater frequency, and they keep you longer down for an extended period of time. Yeah. That's the difference, Skip. When I was young, to a thing, I'm up. I'm ready to go on a day. If I twist my ankle on Sunday, Skip, by Wednesday, I'm good to go. And then all of a sudden, okay, Shannon, we're going to hold you out Wednesday. We're going to see if you can go Thursday. Okay, Shannon, we're going to hold you out. We're going to see how it feels on Friday. Okay, Shannon, we're going to let you test it out come game time, but we're probably going to have to inject this ankle. That's what happened. And then it got to the point where, bro, I just can't make it. Injections and no injection doesn't matter. You just can't make it. And that's what happens, Skip. As we get older, the injuries happen with greater frequency, and they keep you down longer periods of time. And that's what we're starting to see with LeBron James. As pristine condition as the 67 Camaro is outside. What is the engine? How many miles have you put on that engine? And I don't care if it's a 2020. Put 100,000 miles on a car within a year and see what happens. So something might look good outside, but LeBron James has a 61,000-minute body.
He does.
That's what he has.
And I have often called him the greatest driver of the basketball ever, the greatest attacker of the basket.
But explain
that's
why
like Earl Campbell in the NFL.
Yes.
That's like you're going to take a lot of punishment.
And that might explain, Skip, the wear and tear that it puts on you. Because remember, Skip, Michael Jordan, as he started getting older, he started playing further away from the basket.
Well,
as Kobe got older, they started playing further away from the basket because all of a sudden, Skip, I can't jump over 5 people and dunk the ball.
What have we seen the last 3 years? 3-point attempts are going up, way up.
You try to preserve it.
2-point attempts are going way down, career low. And yet, against Houston, that was the first time this year where I said, oh, he's attacking. I like that.
But when was that? That was the fourth quarter.
It was. And what happened? On one of those drives, I assume something pulled, right?
Yeah, it might have been that up and under. You know, when he hit that up and under, you might have to start dunking. Maybe. You might have to start doing that. Lay that thing up, finger roll that thing, get some Iceman and some George Gervin.
All I know is, as we speak, somewhere nearby us here in Los Angeles, Kareem's got to be feeling a little safer, just a little safer with that all-time scoring record.
Skip, remember, we thought it was going to be a foregone conclusion because Karl Malone was, winning MVPs in his late 30s. And, he was still putting up 24, 25 points a game. And then all of a sudden, boom. It's like he stepped off a cliff. They didn't re-sign him in Utah. He went to the Lakers, and then it was over.
I missed him last night.
Yeah, I know you did.
I'll miss him.
No. What you miss is not being able to blame him for something. LeBron.
I always think he's the most interesting man in the history of sports. Every game he ever plays has 15 subplots to it.
You couldn't blame the GOAT.
Well, okay. So I'm saying get well soon.
No.
I think we can all agree he's must-watch TV, right?
Yeah.
No mercy. Now, both the Bengals and the Browns look to get back on track coming off ugly Week 8 losses. After a drama-filled week, Baker and company traveled to Cincinnati without Odell Beckham Jr. after the wide receiver was officially released this morning. So, Shannon, what happens to the Browns without Odell Sunday at
Same
Cincinnati?
thing has been happening. L galore.
Really?
Yep. Let's see. Baker Mayfield, 27th in QBR. Browns have lost 3 of the games started by Baker Mayfield. The Browns have scored 14 or less points 3 of the last 4 games in which Baker Mayfield has started. I'm not buying that Odell Beckham Jr. was holding Baker Mayfield back. Baker Mayfield's inaccuracy, his ability to be something other than a game manager is what's holding Baker Mayfield back. Skip, did you know that they don't win when they don't have a 100-yard rusher? Why is that? Baker has lost 8 of 9 games in which the Browns have not reached 100 yards rushing. Now, that's the number 1 pick in the draft. Now, the number 1 pick in the draft should not be so predicated on whether Kareem Hunt or Nick Chubb runs the air out of the football. But that's what the Cleveland Browns are. If they don't run it, they don't win it. And I know you want to say, well, he didn't have Odell. But what you didn't tell people is that they were running the lights. They were the number 1 running football team in football without Odell. But you didn't mention that. You just mentioned that Baker Mayfield was doing this. But you didn't mention that the Cleveland Browns were doing that. But I will. I'll bring it to their attention. And Baker Mayfield, I just need him to win a game, which you don't expect him to win, because they had an opportunity to beat Pittsburgh last week. He had an opportunity opening day. Had a lead, big old lead on Cleveland. On Kansas City. And what happened? So in the Battle of Ohio, the Bengals will reign supreme. Joe Burrow. Man, you got to be pretty bad. A sad state of affairs. Your 4th, 5th year in the league, and you're the number 1 overall pick, and you're the worst quarterback in the division. Say you ain't the worst quarterback in the division. I defy you to say it right now.
All I'm going to say is the Cleveland Browns will win Sunday at Cincinnati.
They will not.
They will win.
Put due on it. Put due on it.
Want it?
Yeah, I want it.
Do you
all
really?
of it. All of it.
Really?
Yeah.
2 cases?
But that's all you want? Make it light on yourself.
I'll do 3.
Okay,
I'm only up like 43, but that's okay.
That's what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting on you all morning to make me a bet.
Do I get the points?
No, you get what they score. If they score 14, that's what you get. But Cincinnati will have more than that.
Cincinnati's a 2.5-point favorite.
You got Baker.
I'm going to have the courage of my convictions. I'll do 3 cases straight up. I'll take Cleveland.
That's the only way I drink, straight up.
I didn't think you drank.
Don't worry about that.
The cloud has officially been lifted. It's not all Odell's fault, but when Odell becomes unhappy, he is a force of nature unhappy. It happened to the Giants. It's hard to overcome the cloud that Odell can generate over a football team. And all of a sudden, the fog has lifted. And they're going to heave a sigh of relief because they like Odell, but they couldn't live with Odell being so unhappy because it is so divisive in a locker room, because there's a constant tug of war between Odell and Baker, and then all of a sudden Odell's father attacks Baker publicly, and the bridge got burned to the ground.
Well, he didn't put the video together. He just retweeted it.
Okay. Well, he attacked him publicly, and he was doing check, green checks on all the things like Baker's mediocre, check. It's over. That's what it is. It's over. You're out, and you're gone. And I wish him well, and I hope he lands in the perfect spot for him and the perfect city for him. But right now, the Browns are going to get back to being the Browns that I thought were good enough to win the AFC. The Browns who went on a roll without Odell last year after he unfortunately got hurt in this very game at Cincinnati. He went down and out for the year, and all of a sudden,
trying to make a tackle. How did he get hurt, Skip? He didn't get hurt on catching a pass. He didn't get catch on running the football. He got hurt making a tackle on an interception. Who threw that pick?
Well, he didn't throw many more after that because Baker Mayfield in the next 11 games threw a grand total of 3. He threw 20 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, and they went 8-3, and he lit up Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh.
Ain't no lit up. Pittsburgh
lit him up.
Fell apart. You know that.
Well, I'm sorry, but he lit him up and beat their arch division rival in a playoff game at Pittsburgh. So that was his first ever playoff game, and he won it and played huge in that game.
That was not his first playoff game. They lost to Kansas City.
When?
2 years ago.
That's right, they did. But that was his first win, obviously.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so back to the Cleveland Browns. What do we see here? Well, we see a defense that Pro Football Focus says is the 3rd best defense in the league and features
have they played like that?
The best pass rusher in football. A lot of people think of Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Okay.
But has he played?
Jadeveon Clowney is also there as a bookend pass rusher. Nope, but there's the cloud on the team that has been lifted. The offensive line is still ranked very high, especially in run blocking. They're 3rd best pass blocking, 11th best, says Pro Football Focus, your favorite website. And yet they're going to face a team in Cincinnati that is obviously very good, albeit they got a little whiteout situation by the New York Jets the last game that they played. And unfortunately, I wanted to see Mike White against Indianapolis. I wanted to see what would happen. He throws a touchdown, and I don't know exactly what happened, but it's his wrist or his forearm or something.
I think it was the play before he got hurt.
Well, he did. But it seized up on him and tightened up, and I was all eyes, man. I wanted to see if Mike White is the real deal. Once upon a time, a 5th-round draft choice of my Dallas Cowboys.
You saw who was real, though.
Who?
Walk here, too.
Are you back on that bandwagon? You know what? I have never in my life seen somebody jump on and off a bandwagon faster than Shannon Sharpe. You got some leapers, man. You can leap.
Did he not play well?
I've never seen.
I just asked a question. Did he play well last night?
The Jets are pathetic, and then poor Marcus May. They lost him. He tore his Achilles tendon.
I know.
Safety.
And he had a contract year, too.
Yeah, it's horrible. Just horrible. But the Jets, they got a pretty good front 4, I think.
Yeah.
But the rest of it is no good. Right. And it was a rout, and I thought the final score was about to be Indianapolis 500, Jets 14, right? All right, back to this game. It's time for the Browns to take off. They were trying to take off because Baker was on fire late against Pittsburgh. And he threw 2 perfect passes to Jarvis Landry. And I showed you last Monday, hit him right in the hands on 2 straight big passes, and he dropped them both.
He dropped them, Skip.
And then he threw a perfect ball, an extremely catchable ball, if we could see it, to Odell Beckham.
Don't do that, Skip.
Stop
that
it.
wasn't no catchable ball.
This is as catchable, especially by the guy with the greatest hands in the history of the world. This is for the game. This is it. Thank you very much. Odell? And he goes up with one hand like, I don't think I want to catch this because I'm going to get hit.
No. That's an
he's been
ball.
hurt. I showed you again and again how many times he's been hurt. He wants no part of that kind. That's an easy catch for Odell. In preseason, pregame, if there's nobody around in pregame, what does he do with that? He catches it like with one hand behind his back.
You know what I'm about to do?
Yeah.
I'm about to do what you've been doing for Baker. Odell playing with an injured shoulder, hitting his left shoulder injured, banged up.
It's been banged up all year.
So it's harder. Probably got something in his AC joint, maybe a shoulder sprain or somewhere.
He does have an AC sprain. Yep.
Oh,
that's what they
so
said.
that means that it's not fine. So you just can't do this.
Yeah, so Baker's been playing with a fractured left shoulder on top of a torn labrum in his left shoulder, but he just sucks it up and plays.
I know.
And he made 5 throws down the stretch that could or should have won the game, got no help.
This is what I noticed about you. When they lose a ball game, Baker, he got a torn labrum and he got a fractured arm. But when they win, look at Baker. I couldn't tell anything was wrong because when he threw, he got scrambled for that touchdown. What'd he do? He got up there like he a drum major. He was just going to town.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden,
and guess who he almost ran over as he ran up the sidelines? Odell, who was pouting off the field. He was sauntering, pouting off the field.
Odell should have shot him a quick
little
bow.
Okay.
Hey, good job. Good job, Baker. How you doing?
I got Baker. I got the Browns. I got Chubb. I got Dearness Johnson. I got it.
I got P. Ryan. I got Mixon. I got Joe Burrow.
Okay, here we go.
I got Jamar Chase.
Yeah. I got some guts because I'm taking the road underdog.
No, they know. How can you be a dog when you got Baker Mayfield?
Yeah. Well, you got the first pick in the draft, too.
And rightfully so.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. You attach your wagon to the worst quarterback in the division.
Okay.
No mercy. Fox Bet Super 6 wants you to stack the cash. Last week, 5 players spent more than $300,000, and you could be next. Scan the QR code, download the app, and enter the free-to-play NFL Sunday Challenge contest. Make your pick and invite your friends to play as well. The more people who enter, the bigger the jackpot gets. Now, after blowing a 26-point lead to OKC last week, the Lakers blew a 19-point lead last night. The Thunder are 0-6 against the rest of the NBA and now 2-0 against the Lakers. LeBron didn't play in either, and he's now expected to miss at least 1 week with an abdominal strain. So first things first, co-host Chris Broussard joins us now. Chris, even without LeBron, how concerned should the Lakers be about the 2-blown leads against OKC?
Well, first of all, it's easy to pick on Russell Westbrook. And it's fair to pick on Russell Westbrook. All right, no matter how great he is and the numbers he puts up, we saw what happened at the end of the game. All right, and I'll just go to the very end where Carmelo Anthony, and credit to Carmelo because he's shooting the ball really well. But Carmelo hits 2 late threes in the last 40 seconds to get them within a point. And then Russ comes down at the end of the game and jacks up a 3. Now, here's a stat. I don't know if you guys had this earlier in the show or not. But here's a stat. This is since Russ's MVP season. So since 2017. Russell Westbrook, who we all know is not a good three-point shooter, has taken more game time or, going for the tie or go-ahead three-pointers in the last minute of a game than any player in the league. He's 8 for 42 on those shots. That's 19%. So that's what we know Russ's biggest weakness is his lack of decision-making. Now, to me, if LeBron is there for this game and the last one that they blew, this doesn't happen. So I'm going to be honest, guys. Overall, I'm not concerned about them blowing these leads. I'm not concerned about anything that happens with the Lakers if LeBron or AD is not playing. Because that's not the team that's got to win the championship. And if LeBron's not out there, whatever happens on the floor is irrelevant. Because he will be out there, presumably, when they go to the playoffs. And same for AD. Now, I will say this, though, Alex. I do think Lakers fans should be very concerned because of LeBron's injury. And I'm not saying it's a serious injury, but it's an injury. And to me, it is an injury of father time. It is an injury of age, period. LeBron doesn't even know how he got hurt. You know, and that's what happens when you get older. You don't have to get rolled on, run over, tripped. You just getting old. And sometimes, wow, where'd that come from? Yep. And that's what's happening. LeBron has fought off father time, I'd say better than any player in history, including Kareem, Kevin Garnett, some of these other guys that played longer, because LeBron's still near his peak, somewhat near his peak, whereas those guys weren't their 18th season. But he's coming for LeBron. I don't know. I'm not saying he's out the rest of this season or, you know, like that he's going to be struggling with injuries all season. But we do know this. 3 of his 4 years in L.A., he's had that been injury plagued. And the one that wasn't, he had a 4-month hiatus. So it just is what it is. I would be very concerned if I'm a Lakers fan about the injuries coming for LeBron, not worried about what they look like when he's not playing.
Well, I'm concerned because this is the reason why you got Russell Westbrook. Because if LeBron James is out, you got Russ and you got AD. Russ, AD, and with Melo playing the way he's playing, that should be good enough, Chris, to beat the OKC Thunder. That should be good enough to beat a lot of these teams. But for whatever reasons, it's not. They don't play very good defense. Russ does not make very good decisions. And I don't even know why he would even attempt. It looks like he was going to do the over. He was going to dribble the ball, go over the guy's head, and try to lay it up. But I don't even know why he would attempt that, considering that Melo had just hit 2 splash threes on back-to-back plays. Why not push the ball, try to set something up, and get Melo a clean look? No, but that's Russ being hero. And that the things that makes us great sometimes are our greatest flaws. And that Russ will sometimes put his head down and like, I'm going to the basket, guys, can't stop me. He made up in his mind last night, I'm going to the basket, and you can't stop me, and he threw the ball out of bounds. He picked the worst time to have his first turnover in the first quarter, that late in the ball game. I don't think anybody, when Russ pulled up and shot that ball, nobody said, I bet you $50 that ball going in. Nobody thought that ball was going to go in. But, Chris, the problem is their defense. That's what their problem is, Skip. They let the team shoot 53% from the field. 50% from the 3. 50% from the 3 in the fourth quarter. In the game when they blew the 26-point lead, they gave up 41 in the third. They gave up 37 in the fourth. Last night, they gave up another 34 in the fourth. 35 in the fourth. That's their problem. Somehow they think just scoring. They have these lulls where they go 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes without scoring, and then they stop playing defense. Well, you can't do both. If you can't score the ball, you got to make sure they don't score. Because you don't have a big enough lead that's safe enough if you're not scoring and you let them score. So, yeah, it is going to be concerning. And you mentioned the point. These injuries with LeBron are starting to come with greater regularity, and they're starting keeping him out for longer periods of time. That's concerning. I understand that we expect LeBron, the big 3, to play together, but he's starting to miss time that, and like you said, as you get old, Skip, I wake up sometimes like, damn, why my back hurting? Why my neck hurt? I ain't even doing anything. I ain't lift no heavy weights yesterday. And like, dang, my show. Oh, okay. You 53. That's
because I battered you so badly right here on Undisputed, it hurts your back.
There you go. No, well, I got my massage therapist in time for the next week, so I'm gonna be good.
Good for you, up there in your palatial estate in Bel Air. Okay, back to Chris Broussard. Chris, you started out by saying, sure, it's easy to criticize Russell Westbrook. I don't think you meant because we should be giving him a little more of a pass, right? I want to just be clear on that.
Right. You're right.
Because it's glaring, it's blatant, it begs criticism because he is killing the Los Angeles Lakers. It's even worse than I thought it was going to be, and I thought it was going to be so bad that it would not work. And yet, one other quick point of clarification, Chris said, well, LeBron could have gotten those 2 games home. And I think you're right, the one in Oklahoma City with 26-point lead and the one last night with the 19. But I saw LeBron doing his damnedest to get a game home in the second home game against the Houston G League Rockets. And he scored 14 points in the fourth. He ended up straining his ab in the process. But the point was, for all of LeBron's greatness in the fourth quarter, it still came down to Kevin Porter Jr. having the ball and getting a pretty good look from 3 to win the basketball game. So I'm not sure LeBron said, no, this is not going to happen on my watch in my house, because it almost did.
Well, they were behind, kept basically the whole game until LeBron took it over.
But I'm saying it wasn't like LeBron said, I got this, because, man, it got dicey down the stretch, right? Okay, so now we're back to Russell Westbrook. As Shannon has said again and again, the reason he was acquired was simply for games like this, especially the second game against Oklahoma City, to avenge what Russell did and didn't do in the first game when he had a quad, as in quadruple double, as in 10 turnovers. Well, the way he started off last night like a house of fire, I thought, oh, Russ is saying, I owe you guys one for Oklahoma City, and obviously that was his original team, and I think he was trying too hard to be the triumphant returning hero to Oklahoma City. So last night in his new house, as the new point guard with no LeBron of his Los Angeles Lakers that he grew up living and dying for, he got off to a hot start, and yet with the game on the line, because the Thunder would not go away, thanks to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander shooting a logo 3. I've never seen anything quite like it. There's 16 seconds left in the shot clock, if we could see that one, and they're already up 3. And Shai just said, Russ, this is for you. I'm going to show you who the new sheriff in town in Oklahoma City is. It's me. And he just said, I'm just going to pull up and 2-hand set shot. It wasn't even a jump shot. He just shot a set shot and ripped it. And that felt like a dagger. But to Chris's point, here came Austin Reeves, and then here came Carmelo, and then here came Carmelo again. And all of a sudden, you've got chances until Russ comes flying down the floor. If we could see the wild turnover one more time. I have no idea. I think he had no idea what he was going to do.
He was going to hit it with the over.
Well, was he?
Yeah, he was going to carry over the top, Chris.
Was he going to try to get it to, I don't know. Was he going to try to get it to Melo? Was he going to try to get it to Avery Bradley, who was wide open over in the other corner? I don't know. I think he had no plan, and he lost the handle. And I think that's when they lost the game, because the whole team's like, oh, my God. What?
Chris, but this is the very play that Skip Bayless would have criticized LeBron for. You see what he would have done?
Well, would LeBron have made that kind of play?
No. LeBron James would have kicked it to Melo. Melo misses the shot. LeBron James, you got to take that shot. He'd have kicked it to Avery Bradley in the corner.
Get to the free throw line.
You see? But you're down 3.
Okay.
I mean, it was, excuse me, it was a 2-point game.
It was a 2-point game at that point.
So at that point in time, LeBron would have made the right play. See, Russ not going to make the right play.
Okay, but again, Melo's on fire.
Yes!
Okay, and you think he's the point guard. And what do I always say about LeBron? Highest IQ in basketball. What do I always say about Russ? He just might have the lowest IQ in basketball, because he was not born to be a point guard. He was born as a stat machine extraordinaire. I've never seen anything like all the hustle points that he can pile up, and hustle rebounds and hustle assists. But the point is, then, if he could help you a little bit on the defensive end, could we see the inbounds play with 21 seconds left? Because this is all on Russ.
Yeah.
This is, where are you, Russ? Where are you going?
This is what you get freelancing.
Yeah,
when you freelance, this is what happens.
Don't do that. You just left Dort wide open, and Shai Gilgeous just says, I can see over the defense at 6'5", and he jump passes to Dort. That's Russell's man. For a dunk, it's a killer dunk.
Yes.
It's like, what are you doing? I'm sure Vogel's out of his mind. And by the way, Vogel was really out of his mind, if we could see one last time the last shot, because he said that was not acceptable. That was not the right play. We hope to get it to Melo. And obviously, to Chris's point on the stat that he had, that this is, it's just such a bad idea. And you said nobody thought that shot was going in, probably even Russell Westbrook.
Right. But, Skip, I would like to, instead of what, I like to see him come with a little bit more pace than what he came up the court with, Chris, because he was walking up the court like he had 15 seconds. You had about 6 seconds on the court. So push the ball, make them make a decision. Here come Melo coming off the screen. Russell Westbrook.
That play was made from Melo.
He brought that play, Chris. He walked that ball up with the intent on shooting. He was never going to pass that ball to Carmelo Anthony.
Right. That's exactly right. Because had he pushed it quickly, you might be thinking he's trying to make another decision.
Shannon.
He was getting his steps right, getting his rhythm.
But what did I tell you?
Knowing he was going to take that shot.
I told you before the year started, he had a documentary drop about his life and times. He thinks he's the man who's finally come home to roost in L.A. where he belongs as the point guard of the Los Angeles Lakers. He is going to take that shot, whether they like it or not.
No, but he took it last night because LeBron wasn't there, because that ball would have never been in his hands had LeBron James been on the court.
I would hope that would have been in LeBron's hands.
Never, ever. Were they I'm sure they're going to try to make sure he takes that shot, Chris, because they're going to help on everybody else, and LeBron might be forced to swing the ball.
Okay,
but in that situation, LeBron brings the ball up.
Okay, but what does LeBron keep saying? Russ has got to be Russ.
Russ can't be Russ.
Okay.
Well, this is Russ being Russ.
This is what's going to have to happen. And I will say this, and I know they're playing bad teams, and they're barely beating them or losing like last night. But I'm actually impressed by the way LeBron, AD, and Russ have been able to get their numbers in the same game a few times. At this early in the season, I like that, and I like it during the course of the game. But they may have to make a decision where Russ can't be out there in the final minutes of close games.
I agree.
I mean, that's a tough decision to make. But you just said it, Shannon. If Russ is out there and I'm the defense, I'm denying LeBron, doubling LeBron, whatever, trying to get it in Russ's hands. The way to make sure that don't happen is to get Russ out of there.
Yeah.
And that might be a tough decision that they're going to have to ponder.
Yeah, we're going to have like Ben. We're going to last 2 minutes. We're going to keep him inside.
Okay, then you're going to have Odell unhappiness.
That's okay. That's one thing about basketball. They'll get you up out of there.
We knew there were going to be growing pains, but the Lakers definitely have some tough decisions ahead. Chris, thank you so much for joining us. We're moving on.
No mercy.
This week, catch a special Fox NFL Sunday pregame show live from the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland at 11 a.m. Eastern. Then at 4, it's one of the biggest games of the year as Patrick Mahomes and the Packers take on the Chiefs. It all kicks off Sunday on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Jordan Love will make his first career start in that game, and he'll have to go head-to-head with one of the league's premier offenses, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. Love's over-under for passing yards is 235.5. Shannon, does Jordan Love go over or under?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're rooting for him.
Skip, if I was drawing, if I'm a head coach and I'm drawing up a situation that my quarterback has to start on the road. Now, Arrowhead is not the easiest place to play.
Say not.
Because, being in that division, Skip, and playing there twice a year. One time we played there 3 times because we had to play them in the playoffs, Skip.
I mean, isn't it between them and Seattle on loudest outdoor crowd?
I think they overtook Seattle again with the decibel meter.
Yep.
But, Skip, for me, this is an ideal situation when I look at a defense. They don't attack the quarterback really well. They give up chunk plays in the passing game. Nobody's giving up more 40-yard plays than this defense. And when you don't pressure the quarterback, you get Devontae back, you get Lazard back. You have guys that can make plays. You can run the ball fairly well. Dillon and Jones can run the ball. They can catch it out of the backfield. This is a very good situation. This sits up very favorable for the Packers. I know they don't have Aaron Rodgers, and you would love to have Aaron Rodgers. But if I'm Matt LaFleur and I got to take my team on the road, this is the defense that I would like to face because they don't attack the quarterback very well. They get penalized an awful lot as a team, especially as a defensive unit, and they give up plays. So at some point, and the offensive line, the Packers offensive line is pretty good, Skip. They're a pretty good offensive line, and they don't have Bakhtiari. He's going to come back at some point in time. I'm just saying that he won't be back this game, I don't think. But this will be an ideal situation for Jordan Love. I don't know if he'll have a better situation. Yes, it's going to be loud, but it's not going to be to the point where they got a defense that can just come get you and put fear in you. So I'm going to say he's going to have more than 235 yards passing.
I mean, that would be a big first start.
Yeah.
Okay, if he goes 240, 250, is that good enough to win the football game?
It's all predicated on this. Can Kansas City get a lead, a 14-point lead, make it 17-3, it's, 21-10 21-6, excuse me.
Yeah.
Can they get a lead and force Jordan Love to take Aaron Jones, to take Dillon out of it from running the football? Can they do that? What we've seen in the past, this defense is predicated on putting their ears back. Well, if you got to sit in there and play the run and then try to get off and try to play the pass, that's a recipe for disaster. So can Kansas City, can Patrick Mahomes put Jordan Love at a disadvantage by putting 21 points on the board early? Can he do that? We haven't seen him do that in a very long time, Skip.
Nope. Okay, as you well know, the first problem Jordan Love is going to face is you got to go silent count because it's going to be so loud, and it's hard on a young quarterback when you can't audible, you can't check with me, you can't do much of anything.
Right.
You just got to go silent count and go with what you got. And yet, from all I hear about Jordan Love is they do like him. They're about to find out how much they like him, but they do. And I've seen him in 3 little stints. I saw 2 preseason stints, looked pretty good.
Right.
And I saw mop-up duty of that opening day disaster at Jacksonville versus New Orleans. I saw him mop up for Aaron at the end of the game, and he looked pretty good.
Right.
He's 6'4", 220-ish. He did not run well in his 40. He's 4'7"-ish.
Right.
So he's not a speed demon.
Right.
But I think he can move around fairly well.
Yeah.
So now we find out. It's got a nice arm. I would think that young Matt LaFleur would take even younger Jordan Love and try to shorten the game with him. So I do not think he will get close to 235. I think it'll be closer to 200 at best because I think they're going to try to pound the football. They might try to sledgehammer the football with A.J. Dillon. But I am the biggest fan of the other Aaron, who I often try to make the case he's the actual MVP in the game, Aaron Jones, because he is the best dual-purpose back in the league because he can run it better, I think, than Kamara can run it. Kamara can catch it better or run after catch better. If you get Kamara in the open field, it's history. Yeah. But this young man, still young man, is a force to be reckoned with, especially if you make him the focal point of the game plan, because he will fight and scratch and claw for every single yard he can get. Remember him on the goal line at Arizona. But the point is, you can flip it to him, and he will hurt you. He has destroyed my Dallas Cowboys in big games by catching it out of the backfield. So I think he's going to be featured. I think A.J. Dillon will hammer away. And I believe behind that offensive line, they will try to shorten the game, control the clock, keep the ball as much as possible by playing keep away from Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I think in order to do that, Skip, the thing is that you drop the safety down and then you go one-on. I mean, you're gonna have to roll. I would more apt to double Devontae and take my chances one-on-one with Broussard or Scanlon or one of those other guys. But I'm not leaving one-on-one with Devontae with nobody in that secondary.
Nope, I got it. Unless you run them out of their coverage.
Yeah, and that's the thing that they're going to try to do. But for me, Kansas City, can you get a lead and force Jordan Love to have to throw the football and eliminate the element of the run game? That's the problem that they've had, Skip. They have a normally Kansas City go boom, 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 and the next thing you know, it's 24-0. They've eliminated the run game. So now you have to pass, and now you let Frank Clark, now you let Chris Jones, you let those guys pin their ears back. Now they have Melvin Ingram, and they said they're hoping that he gets an opportunity to play on Sunday. So you hope you can pin your ears back and get him. If when they can run it and throw it and you don't know, because, Skip, look, we've come to the conclusion the defense isn't very good. They reverted back to what they were when they had the Patriots on the rope and the defense couldn't get out the field. They reverted back to that. And a lot of that has to do with in 29, when they won the Super Bowl, Skip, they could get a lead and you had to come get them. They removed the running game. Now, all of a sudden, when Patrick Mahomes comes on the field, he's already down 7-0.
So I am not going to actually pick the road team to win this game.
No, I'm not
with
picking
their young quarterback, but I do think they can make it very close.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. Yeah.
And if they do pull it off, it's going to be in the realm of 23-21 kind of a game.
No, my homeboy will get more than that.
You think so? Yeah. Not if he doesn't have the football.
Yeah, that
it is going to be must-watch TV for different reasons now, but still a tune-in. Now let's move to L.A. after adding Von Miller. Are the Rams about to prove they are the best team in the NFC?
They got the best quarterback. Best quarterback, Matthew Stafford, MVP.
No mercy. According to Fox Bet Sportsbook, the Rams are 7.5-point favorites hosting the Titans on Sunday night. This will be Von Miller's first game with L.A., who are tied the best record in the NFC at 7-1. Shannon, are the Rams clearly the best team in the NFC?
I wouldn't say they're clearly, but I do believe they're the number one team for me, Skip, in the NFC. I love the way their offense is playing. Their defense is really good. And so for me, Skip, if you look at the Rams, the Bucks, the Cowboys, and the Cards, I think we all, Green Bay and the Packers, I think we'll all say those are the top 5 teams. Now, on a given Sunday, with those quarterbacks, anything can happen. But for me, I would take the Rams. I would take the Rams as a slight favorite over all of those teams. Home field is going to be very, 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 very important, Skip, because you know there's only one number 1 seed this year. Only one gets to bye. And somebody's going to have to play somebody a lot sooner than they anticipated. And it won't be for an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. It'll be for an opportunity to advance to the NFC Championship game. But I think if Von Miller can give them 70% of what he was, and you pair him with Aaron Donald, who's still the preeminent defensive player in football, and a Leonard Floyd, who's finally resurged a new life in L.A. once he got left to Chicago, I think you have, obviously, the front. I would put them 55% favorite to come out of the NFC if Von Miller can give them, with J. Ram on the back end. Now that secondary is not going to have to hold up nearly as long because you've got to single somebody. Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Leonard Floyd is going to get a single on every play. You only got 5 linemen, Skip. You can't double everybody.
Okay.
So with that being said, I'm going to take them. I believe Matthew Stafford is the MVP thus far. Cooper Kupp is the Offensive Player of the Year. Since Derrick Henry has gone down, he's the first player in NFL history with 900 receiving yards, double-digit touchdowns through the first 8 games. So for me, I'm going to say the Rams are slightly better than the other teams, the other 4 teams. As I mentioned, Bucks, Cowboys, Cards, and Packers. I'll say they're a slight favorite over those guys. I think I might go to this game.
Really?
I might.
I thought you would have the guts, the courage of your conviction. I thought you would have the nerve just to leap right out on the end of the limb and say they're now clear-cut favorites now that they've added Von Miller. Right?
No.
No?
If he can give you, if he's 70% of what he was, I give them 55%.
They're 7.5-point favorites on Sunday night.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know Derrick Henry.
That's what happened.
And probably no Julio.
It's starting to feel like meant to be for those Los Angeles Rams because right on schedule, they acquire Von, and Derrick Henry, unfortunately, knock on wood for him, he's gone.
And I think Julio might be out also.
Okay, so here we go. I'm going to boil it down to this for you. The reason I don't trust the Rams going forward, longer term, is because I don't completely trust the quarterback that you say is the MVP.
But you trust Dak Prescott?
I do.
Okay.
In Dak, I trust.
Okay.
But in Tom, I really trust. So to me, as we head toward whatever reckoning day is going to happen.
Turnover prone Tom?
Yeah. Oh, really?
Is that what they call him? Turnover Tom?
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Tom,
TT.
are you watching? I know you're watching. I know your social media director watches. Could we please have that clipped off and played for
What'd you clip it off?
Mr. Brady?
What'd you have it clipped off? Oh, Turnover Tom?
Turnover Tom.
That's what they call him, TT, down at the crib? Yeah.
Remember how many turnovers he had last year? Chicago and New Orleans at home and Rams at home. Remember those debacles of disasters of games?
And what did Rams do? Rams got his number. Rams do something to it.
He threw for 432.
He called it. He ate a bunch of L.
Did he? Wow. You better hope they don't get healthy because I'm talking about healthy as in when they get Gronk back, when they get AB back, when they get Carlton Davis back, when they get Murphy Bunting back, you're going to be in heaps of trouble because that's the team to beat. But I'm going to tell you once again, I'm going to warn you one more time, something is happening in Dallas, Texas. Something special is happening. I'll take the Cowboys over the Rams, and I will take the Bucks over the Rams because I will trust those quarterbacks going forward over a Matt Stafford who is 0-3 in his playoff life, albeit in Detroit.
Well, you make it seem like Dak Prescott 10-1.
Okay, well, I'll still take him. I'll take him as a playmaker over a Matt Stafford who has always come up small when you least expected it because in Detroit, remember, he had Megatron 7 of those 9 years, and they were 74, 90, and 1.
Yeah.
Is he that guy? Are you sure about him?
I remember you guys.
He's on that MVP role right now. Thanks to Coach McYay.
I remember you guys had the #1 seed in 2016 and lost in the divisional round. You remember that, Skip? And you remember every time you guys played the Rams.
Ancient history.
What happened every time the Cowboys played the Rams? You remember what happened? You came out here to SoFi? You remember what happened the year before that?
No mercy. Well, Dak is set to make his return this weekend against Denver, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. Prescott's over-under on his passing yards is set at 285.5. Shannon, what's his overall stat line Sunday against your Broncos?
I think he's going to have a big day. I think he's ready to go. He looked as good this year as I've seen him at any point in time. And, Skip, it's been meaningful. You know, yeah, we see him throw for 400, high forward, Skip, but they're behind 14, 17 points. In the games this year, he's really never been out of them, and he's been spot on. So I'm going to say he has 303 touchdowns. They run the ball for $135, $140, and they win.
You have rhapsodized all year about that Denver Broncos defense.
Yeah, but they banged up.
They're ranked second in points allowed, but now Dallas looms and you are running scared.
No,
That's what's happening.
So what you want me, you think you're slick. You try to be on air running slick. You try to be slick. Yeah. Oh, you want me to say that defense. So when Dak comes and lights him up, he lit up the #2 defense in all of football. There's something special about this team. No, it ain't happening.
I've told you there's something special about this team.
It ain't nothing special
August.
about it. Ain't nothing special about him.
Dak is going to have a hard time against your Denver Broncos defense. He'll throw for 265, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception just on rust because he hasn't played for a couple of weeks. I told you Dallas will struggle to win, but will win this game 24-17. Dallas will not cover 10 points, and you say it's going to be a 34-17 blowout. Wrong.
Give me 3 cases.
For what?
They're going to win by double digits.
I'm not going to bet against my team. I never bet against my team because I don't need to.
Okay, well, I take the Cowboys.
Yeah. You
take the Broncos.
I don't want to bet. I'd be betting against my team. So
I just want to bet. I'm just trying to get me a lead or get my due back.
I can't wait for both your reactions on Monday. That's it for us. Thank you for spending your Friday morning with us. We're back Monday at 9:30 Eastern. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, they're free.